Alrighty then, it's time for a Fiddlesticks game, and I've been wanting to have a video of his ever since Season 6 started. Which one? Because so many questions have been brought up about him. Is he viable? Is he shit now? Which two? And in fact, there was like a 1,000 upvote thread the other day about Fiddlesticks' viability in the new jungle. And I gotta say, a lot of it is a little bit incorrect. I mean, yeah, he did technically get weaker because AP items became more expensive, but Fiddlesticks has never really been about making it to the late game, so to speak. In fact, Fiddlesticks doesn't really care about items that much. He only gets Hourglass because he can go in stasis and at least not die during that. He's all about kind of cheating. He cheats in the jungle. I mean, his channel from his W is basically his way of amplifying his auto attacks, because he kind of just doesn't auto attack in the jungle. Instead, he just kind of sits there and channels. So it's sort of like if he had really good auto attacks that healed him up for a lot. Fiddlesticks is all about the early game. Always has been. So the items costing a bit more just don't matter. Like right now, Lee Sin knows he cannot fight me. I mean, even if Riven wasn't there, I'm pretty sure he'd be afraid of duking it out with me. He runs to mid because Riven and I were chasing the hell out of him, and he pretty much gets killed. I don't know why they call it didn't pay attention that early, but because of this, we're able to ink out 2 kills. Watch this, I love this. Dark Wind hits Fizzillion for enough for the Ignitus to finish him off. Such a bullshit RNG right there. But still, as I was saying, Fiddlesticks is all about the early game. He's probably the hardest duelist to kill for a lot of junglers, because if they have no means of actually interrupting his drain, he's going to guzzle them to death and there's nothing they can do about it. And as far as ganking and anything goes, it's like, what can you really do against him unless you're faster or have CC? In this case, both Nami and Sivir have no more crowd control, so I'm able just to walk up there, apply my crowd control, and almost kill the Nami. And then just kind of turn around, then screw the Sivir several times. Like, I just fear, stops her flow, Thresh CCs her, and then we finish her off. And then for whatever reason, Nami's going to face check this again and get herself killed. Watch. So essentially, I got 2 ganks off early game. The Zillion kill and this Nami kill right now don't really count. But that's just kind of the way Fiddlesticks works. He's all about going to the early game and abusing the fact that you have a targeted hard CC, his fear, and your silence is pretty good, but not insanely overpowered. And then once you hit your level 6, you have an ultimate that can fucking destroy anyone as long as you catch them with it. Here we catch Lee Sin with my ultimate and pretty much obliterate him. Zillion goes in to try to save him, but he ends up walking into my ultimate and getting absolutely destroyed. Rengar showed up to try to gank Akali too, but unfortunately he wasn't in the ultimate to get absolutely destroyed. Sorry, I got a little burpee right there. Anyways, Fiddlesticks, again, is pure attrition. If you can't stop his drain, then you lose. And that's just kind of how he works. When you go to gank somebody, they can't fight back if they can't stop you. And if they try to stop you, then your teammates just kill him. He's weak to counter ganks for sure, but he's really good at counter ganking himself. I mean, not himself, counter ganking other junglers. Like again, in this case, all I do is show up and throw my Dark Wind, and it's going to guarantee to bounce between several people and just absolutely silence them, essentially taking them out of this little rumble. We catch Lee Sin as he tries to dash back in. He survives, but the Vayne is going to make sure he pretty much kicks the bucket. Sorry, in getting my stutter here. But either way, a very good example of Drain being utter bullshit against a lot of champions is right here, or mostly Nami just fucks it up. Nami is going to burn her Q. Nami's gonna burn her Q randomly, and I'm gonna just stand there and drain her. There's nothing she can do. I mean, even if she was somebody else, like even if she was a Malphite or a Riven, if she had already burned her only means of stopping my drain, then I would just stand there and laugh my ass off. So, again, early game prowess is Fiddlesticks. This is a fast meta. His base values on his ultimate and his abilities are insanely good as well, which means he doesn't really need items that much. Again, the point I'm trying to drive across here is that he's still good. He's still an early game still strong early game. And that's what you have to try to push out as Fiddlesticks. If it gets to mid and late game, then yeah, your weakness will start showing, but at the same time, you really don't care that much about your items except your Hourglass. You're still kind of this really annoying fear bot, and your Dark Wind can pull off some bullshit with silencing bounces. So yeah, hooray for Fiddlesticks still. I will say though that the Runeglaive is really stupid. That it was forced on every AP champion, but that was kind of in season 5 as well. They really should just consider bringing back Magus. Watch this, by the way. I hope you paid attention to that gank. I made sure to stay out of the range of Rengar's leap, so he couldn't use me to piggyback and save himself. If he still had flash, he could have jumped on me, flashed away, and there wouldn't be nothing I could do to stop him except maybe fear him. But the Riven had already burned her dashes and stuff, so I didn't want him to have the chance of escape, right? So that was a pretty good gank. And yeah, the game is snowballing at this point, but as Fiddlesticks, you already saw, had a tremendous effect in the early game. And this team comp of mine is pretty damn bad if you think about it. You saw my bottom laners die, so they were already kind of a liability early. Riven is a good top laner, and she does beat Rengar, so I wouldn't have an issue there. But Akali is a very vulnerable mid lane, especially against Lee Sin. Fortunately, a lot of the pressure I enacted early allowed us to get away with it. Anyways, the enemy team engages on us. I'm trying to find a place where I can ult, and sadly I can't because there's a pink ward here. So I take the lantern instead of the Vayne, and I sacrifice her because I had the intention of going back in with my ultimate. I almost killed the Nami, but she ends up getting healed and an exhaust thrown on me, so she survives with just a sliver of health, and then I end up getting killed. Fortunately, it's enough time to distract them for the Akali to show up and then the Riven to show up, and so these two just absolutely destroy the enemy team. It's a slaughter fest here. It's basically a delayed ace on the enemy team. So nonetheless, yes, we're snowballing like crazy, but I just wanted to showcase the early pressure that Fiddlesticks can have. I mean, nothing in this game is stronger than a point-click CC, and Fiddlesticks is one of those few champions who still has that shit. Yes, the talisman is kind of pointless on Fiddlesticks, and yes, the Runeglaive is terrible, but I did all that shit without having any of those items. Now I'm building myself up to the hourglass, but I'm hoping you notice one other item I have. Boots of Lucidity. I know the magic pen boots are really good, but I'm also monopolizing the blue, and the reason, and that makes that supported my idea of getting the boots of Lucidity, so I can have almost 40% cooldown reduction. So I can spam my fear, I can spam my CC, and just be really annoying. We don't really have a tank, so my idea is to fear anybody who's a dangerous threat, like the Rengar who jumps in, and then just finish the rest of them off. So I became this sort of utility bot, making my... I took advantage of my early game prowess to sort of become this supporty AP champion later on. So yes, that kind of build for Fiddlesticks still works out, and I've been having at least some success with it. So maybe full-on AP traditional Murderfest Fiddlesticks might be out because it's a little too expensive, but this fear-focused, utility-based Fiddlesticks is still in. And again, for me, it's a lot easier because this is kind of the build I always gravitated towards. I'm building Hourglass, of course, and then building myself to get Abyssal Scepter and just be that kind of, again, Fiddlesticks. But anyways, now let's commentate the game. We flashed over, almost killed a Zillion, but of course he survived. I flashed over the wall again because I didn't want Lee Sin to wombo combo me because I'm still technically a bit fragile. Although he's also really damn weak. I used my ultimate, killed Lee Sin, but then Rengar ends up popping in and destroying the Vayne, and I just decide to abandon her, making way for my Akali who's coming down through the river. Akali goes through and just absolutely eviscerates both the Nami and the Rengar. So yes. This game has pretty much been over for quite a while, but it's still showcasing a lot of the annoyances that Fiddlesticks can do. I'm basically always at full health, and at least the jungle items are pretty good at sustaining your mana for a little bit. Like the Runeglaive and the other passive effects are pretty good at least keeping you moderately mana sufficient. So it's not completely terrible. It is not cost effective for Fiddlesticks, but he's the only jungler still kind of screwed over by the item. So it's almost not truly like reasonable to expect Riot to change or make a whole new item just for Fiddlesticks. Although removing it in the first place was rather silly. Why not just have it as part of the repertoire? Anyways, yes, again, we are fed, so the game is kind of over because the enemy team seems to be tilting and yelling at each other and just going off on their own. But again, it was a perfect showcase of the effectiveness that Fiddlesticks can have early game. And again, if Fiddlesticks is still viable, it's gonna be in those kind of rush down kind of compositions. He's got strong base values, especially his ultimate, which is kind of where he's best. And later on, he does he does get weaker, but that's always been the thing about him. So, yeah, if his items cost more, it does make him even weaker than before. But just don't let it get to that point. Anyhow, as you can see, the enemy team is starting to, well, they've already kind of fallen apart. The Rengar is yelling at his team, and he's going to try to split push him. Well, the rest of my team is just sort of gathering together, waiting to pick someone off. No matter what damage they do, I just heal myself back up. And now, I gotta say, this next little part is going to be rather comedic. We solidify our control of the enemy jungle, and they're going to go catch the enemy Rengar. And I decide, you know what, maybe, just maybe, someone's going to pass by this little bush. So I just hide in there, just waiting for somebody to pass by. Unfortunately, nobody does while my teammates go for Rengar. So I start recalling. And then Lee Sin just blindly walks in here, and then Riven is just showing up at the right time, and poor Lee Sin, he didn't expect the Fiddlesticks, so he gets easily picked off. And it's just kind of funny to me. I mean, at this point, it's putting them at even greater tilt, right? Anyways, next item I'm deciding to buy is instead of the Abyssal Scepter is Death Cap, because if I'm super fed and I'm super ahead, well, 2 kills is super fed, but you get what I mean. I might as well go full on damage and just shut this game down. By the way, I hope you also noticed this. Dragon for Fiddlesticks is still as easy as ever. In fact, I think it's kind of a little bit easier now. So if there's one thing he also has, it's just the ability to murder objectives, so there's that. Anyways, warding the enemy jungle, making sure they don't have anything, because if they're going to defend this turret, I'll be able to ambush them with my ultimate here. And fortunately for me, both Lee Sin and Sivir walk through, and my ultimate just obliterates Sivir. I just keep going forwards to the Lee Sin using no other ability until my ultimate runs out. And then Hourglass. And awesome, my teammates were awesome enough to just wait there and tank the turret, so I didn't get killed. So yeah, the enemy team got destroyed by, well, us getting super snowballed and a teamwork. Which is ironic, because if you were able to watch this game, my teammates were yelling at each other since the very beginning. The Vayne and the Thresh were not the most happy of people, but the second they saw we were going to win this game just by snowballing it, they started sucking each other's dicks. So I'm hoping they watch this, and remember, you guys got to chill the fuck out, because a good jungler will carry you to the victory. Anyways, the enemy team is very gung-ho on killing this Akali because she's been tormenting them. They chase her blindly while the rest of us sort of just, you know, waiting to catch a straggler. We catch the Zillion, but he uses his ultimate to save himself. But unfortunately, unfortunately for him, the Nami gets easily picked off. They may have killed our Akali, but the rest of us just mow them down. This, of course, results in our very immediate victory right after getting Baron. Right now, you can see that I just kind of stopped chasing Lee Sin because I know the Vayne was going to pick him off. We get the Baron, and the enemy team right after this is pretty much yelling at each other, and they're going to surrender. Hooray for us. Hooray for Fiddlesticks. Keep it in mind, again, he's an early game champion, not a late game champion, so I still think he's very viable in Season 6. Although, he might want to see a little bit of love with the scaling. This channel is supported by my sponsors, Crunchyroll, Pro Build Systems, and Loot Crate. Check out the description below for links to the websites. Signing up for any trials, including Crunchyroll's free anime trial, greatly supports my channel. Also remember to give the video a like to support the channel and subscribe if you haven't yet.